this is a more precise map of now the areas that are under an evacuation order. You need to leave now. We were under a warning, and that was, you know, hey, get your stuff together, get your pets together, your livestock together, make sure you get everyone ready. And now it is, you need to leave right now. And the reason for that is because they feel like you could be in immediate danger. They only do those orders if it is extremely serious. Otherwise, they would have just kept it a warning and kept it in the yellow. It's also important to leave as fast as possible because you want to get off of these roads that are very narrow. Some of them just one-lane roads. They don't even have two lanes. It's just one lane, and you know, it's kind of a stop-and-go situation. And especially in this particular area, you get really close to the side of hills, and you have to go really, really slow. I mean, less than 25 miles. I know I at least drive less than 25 miles per hour when I'm driving in these roads because this is near where my family lives. So you really want to give yourself extra time.
And looking at this map right here, so on the left side, we're talking about Chablis Drive. That's the left side of this fire perimeter at this time. And then we're also talking about within it, Bumper Road, Wind Road, China Hill Road. China Hill Road is a long road, but it is a short stretch of China Hill Road, which are on the bottom right corner of the evacuation order at this particular point. But this is burning 3 miles east of Shingle Springs. It's a couple miles to the southwest of El Dorado.
And let's go back to Live Copter 3, Curtis. We got those pictures back, and let's go ahead and make sure we have Heather's mic open as well. And as Heather mentioned, the winds really aren't doing much today, which is great, and that's why we're seeing the smoke going straight up, and it kind of becomes that big mushroom cloud at the top where it just kind of flattens out in the upper atmosphere and the upper levels there. But you could just see how straight this smoke is going, and there's a lot of darker colors, so that makes sense that there may have been some cars burning. Obviously, that's not good for the environment, but that explains the darker colors. Hopefully, there were no structures or homes that burned in this, but it looks like they've done a really good job of just containing this to this 25 acres. And Heather, what are some of the things that you're noticing as we get these clearer pictures from Live Copter?
Yeah, and pointing out the same exact thing that you were, just that smoke column is going straight up. I wonder if our pilot, Dan Oppenheim, if he can hear us. Curious to know what their elevation is, because it looks like Live Copter 3 right now is kind of at eye level with the top of that smoke plume. That's where the smoke itself is hitting that inversion layer, right? If you live in the foothills, you know the inversion layer. It's what keeps you warmer than the valley during the overnight hours. But yeah, good to see here from this view that we're not seeing any of that wind. That is helpful for the firefighters. It also helps with the fire crews on the ground as far as visibility goes. But again, a lot of dry grass, a lot of dry brush. I know we've talked about the winds. This fire isn't necessarily what we would consider wind-driven, but it is more terrain-driven, right? The foothills, you've got those rolling hills, you've got some of those short but steep canyons. We're getting that closer view now. It looks like that may be just kind of the edge of one of those retardant drops right there. But you can see the fire burning down in this canyon. But what fires do, especially during the daytime hours when we've got the peak heating like what we do right now, is those fires climb uphill. What happens is the fire's burning at the lower elevations. They heat the fuels up above them, makes them catch fire more easily, so the fire moves upward. That's why we've seen a couple of these streets that are under those evacuation orders now. Well, those are streets that are on some of those ridge tops. I want to give you a closer view here. So the fire started along Bonanza Auto Road, close to that auto dismantler. Again, we know a couple of cars have been seen on fire. Unclear if that is directly related to the auto dismantler or if it's cars on someone else's property. But the one of the streets that is under that evacuation order, Chablis Drive, here to the south of where the fire started. Winds are light, but the fire, based on where we see those evacuation orders, apparently kind of crawling to the south along that ridge line. And again, here's just another view from one of those Alert California cameras where you can see that smoke plume rising straight up because, again, fortunately, a lack of winds, which gives an advantage to those fire crews. The disadvantage here is just the terrain and crews, those hand crews, having to hike down into some of those canyons to get to where the flames are. Guys?
Well, and Heather, you just mentioned the Bonanza Auto dismantlers. I just got off the phone with them, and they said they didn't have any cars burning there. Everything's fine there at the auto dismantlers. They said this fire is just really on the other side, on the back side of where they're located. They couldn't even see any smoke there. So they're right off of Bonanza Auto Road. So that's great news that we know that. So like you mentioned, Heather, there could have been cars at someone else's property. And so that's good that we at least have that piece of information nailed down here. And you can see, though, on the other side where we're looking that there are some homes and some neighborhoods here.
Yeah, this is certainly a country area, and so we do have a lot of dry brush in that area, and we do have homes peppered throughout that particular area. We do know this area around El Dorado, east of Shingle Springs, south of 50, they do have evacuations usually at least once, sometimes a couple times each summer as the conditions dry out, and this fuel, this fresh fuel after things dry out, is prime for fire. So the good news with that smoke going straight up, we don't have winds that are driving these flames as we've seen in past fires. When we've had these bad conditions, these fires could spread very quickly, but at this point it appears it is staying confined to this particular area. But that said, we do have evacuation orders now in place for this area, which you see on your screen, and people in this area should be getting out now.
And there is an evacuation point that has been set up at the Placerville Library. That's at 330 Fair Lane. This is a central place where you can go charge your devices, meet up with your family, a central meeting place if you've already evacuated, and then wait for the next steps. This is not an overnight shelter. Animals are accepted on leashes or in carriers or kennels. This is just a temporary evacuation point. So that was created just about 10 minutes ago. But, you know, again, that was also created when there was just an evacuation warning. Now it is turned to red that we see here on the map, and it's an evacuation order. So we're waiting to get word on where there will be a shelter set up, since they have now been ordered to evacuate.
And it's just a good reminder, too, especially as we go into fire season. Sometimes the terminology, people are trying to figure out the difference between a warning and an order. A warning says, hey, you should get ready because you could leave at any particular moment. But once it becomes an order, that's when they're telling you they do want you to get out of that area, as you have fire trucks working to get into this area where we have these country roads, and sometimes it's difficult to get in and out. They don't want to be fighting against the people who are evacuating as they're trying to get the firefighting apparatus in the area to protect these homes. So that's why they want to get everybody out right now.
And when I talked to the people at Bonanza Auto Dismantlers, they were very calm and really were actually unaware of that the fire was going on. So that's, I mean, I would think that that would be good news, so that they're not worried about it. So they must not be seeing a lot of smoke. But this is on the other side of where they are. So hopefully they've now turned KCRA 3 on, because I would love to be able to show them this. We saw those flames that are just chewing up the side of the hillside there. And as Heather mentioned, it's going to take crews longer on the ground to get down into those canyons. And as, you know, the sun begins to set and the winds start to shift, that sort of thing, the winds that are created from just where topography, where it is in the land, it'll create a wind. Things can get more dangerous, and we know that things can change so quickly, especially as we start to get closer to the sunset time, which luckily we have a couple of hours from now for that.
Right, and I'm glad Lisa got the clarification, because you do hear that it is called Bonanza Auto Road. We do have reports that there were cars on fire, and so some people did think that perhaps this had something to do with the auto dismantlers right there off of Bonanza Auto Road. But again, Lisa got off the phone with them, and they're saying no, it was not impacting their particular facility. But if you go to the west of their facility, you do have a lot of dry brush there, and that is where you have those homes peppered throughout that area, and those are the areas that are threatened right now.
And hopefully they would be, and I'm sure, the firefighters know exactly where everything is located. They study maps for a living, and literally it's their job to know where all the businesses are located, and so they know, hey, we do not want these flames getting over into that dismantling business, because once you get, an auto dismantling business on fire, that could take weeks and weeks and weeks, and sometimes they have to let those things burn themselves out, and that would be horrible. We're going to go back over to meteorologist Heather Waldman, who's tracking the conditions.
Yeah, so I've called up the CAL FIRE incident page for the Bonanza fire. This is something that you can look at home if you're curious. It's got information on the evacuation orders and warnings. Of course, right now it's an order for the area shaded in red. It's also got where the fire approximately started, along Bonanza Auto Road. Again, we know it was close to the Bonanza Auto Dismantlers, but Lisa has been talking to the owners there. They say they have not had any incidents on their property. But the reason I'm bringing this up now is because CAL FIRE has updated the perimeter for the Bonanza fire. And keep in mind, as soon as they give us a new acreage update or a new perimeter update, because of the way these fires grow, this is already at least somewhat outdated, but it gives us an idea of how the fire has been behaving. So this is Bonanza Auto Dismantlers at the end of Bonanza Auto Road. The fire started here. The owners of that business told us it kind of started on the other side of the ridge from where they are, but the fire appears as though it is burning away from that business into these open areas of dry grass, dry brush, and some of those trees within there as well. But again, you can see that those evacuation orders extend farther to the south. This is Chablis Drive right here, and this is Lumbo Lane, another one of those streets that is part of this evacuation order. Bumper Road is out here, again, a little bit farther away from the fire, but we do know the fire has been growing in this direction. So perhaps that may be a little bit more urgent for anybody that may be along this road. Again, this is Bumper Road. Not seeing too many strikes. There are a couple of houses that you can see somewhat clearly here along this stretch of Bumper Road. You can see these two houses here. So hopefully if these folks are home, heeding those evacuation orders and getting out, because again, you can just kind of see the direction of the fire growth here. The fire started here and then fanning out this way to the east and to the south. Not necessarily with the breeze. We know the winds have been very light, but the fire growing kind of with the terrain and with all that dry grass and dry brush. So again, this is the CAL FIRE incident page. If you are in this evacuation order, or if you see smoke near you, you're curious about it, that's a good way for you to get some of this kind of up-to-date information. That's what I was using for you right here. Back to you guys.
All right. That was a great explanation, Heather. Thank you so much.
All right, we got the live pictures here from the Live Copter 3, which is now getting better into position, where you're seeing all that smoke going up. It looks like at just a little bit of an angle, so as it goes up and catches a little bit of that upper air, it's starting to move direction to the east. And we do know that fire has traveled to the east from where it is believed to have originated on Bonanza Road. Do I have that road right?
Yeah. And you can just see, I mean, Curtis, now that we're really getting close with Live Copter 3, we've been waiting. We flew there as fast as we could safely fly there. But as we're starting to zoom in here, you can see just how big these flames are, and there aren't even really a lot of trees. And so when you're seeing that size of flame, when it's just kind of that lower brush, see what I'm talking about, Curtis? It's just, that's lower. That's not even a grove of trees. So that's a lot of flameage for there not being trees, because we're really, really high up. So when something looks that big, and look at the rotation that you're seeing there on those flames. See that rotation?
Yeah, it keeps it.
And it's kind of in the shadow of the smoke. Here's one of the aircraft that Curtis has been following really closely for us, just kind of zooming through there. You can see where they just did a retardant drop, and it's just been impressive how quickly they have responded to this fire and really just kind of, you know, cinching it, if you will, to this, hopefully just this 25 acres, hopefully. And you can see just kind of at the left-hand side of the screen, bottom of your screen, where there are some properties, there are some structures, but there are also some businesses, as we mentioned. So a lot of white smoke right now, a lot of white smoke coming off of this fire. And thankfully, we do not have strong winds. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and as Heather did a very good job of showing us, it appears the fire did start on Bonanza Auto Road is the correct name, near Hollandview Drive. And so from there, it seems to have moved to the east. And so it is burning, but it is staying confined to this particular area. The good news is when a fire starts like this and you have an area that comes up of evacuation orders and warnings, they have not expanded it at all. It is staying within that particular area at this time. We haven't seen any sort of evacuations expand.
So see what I mean, Curtis? So we're this far away, and you can see how those flames look the same size of that structure that you see on the left. I mean, that could be a house, but that's just how big. And then we're starting to see the flames through the smoke on the right-hand side there. We're going to zoom into that. So we're getting some pretty big flames. It looks like there are some trees in that area, so that makes sense that we're starting to see flames. But the good news is that at least this isn't like a forest and like a lot of dense trees and brush. It looks like it's a lot of low-lying brush and that sort of thing, which is, you know, best case scenario. I guess if there's a best case scenario, this would be it.
Yeah, hopefully it just stays there with that dry brush, and it clears out that dry brush as we get into the drier months. As we go through the summer, it's only going to get drier from here. And so as it chews through this area right here, it's the grasses and also those low-level trees and brush there that are on fire.
Before we go to the break, we wanted to show you the map where there is an evacuation order now and some of the roads that are included in this. So take a good look at at this. We've got the street names at the bottom of the screen. If you don't have the KCRA3 app, download it right now. It's free to download. You will get up-to-the-minute updates on this. You can also watch Live Copter 3 as we're flying over, providing these exclusive pictures for our viewers.